I think really just thinking for me about just my long-term goals financially. I mean, my job with the state is good and it's stable, but I think for the most part, any 9 to 5 job, like you can only make so much money. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
so for me, just like my financial goals as far as like, putting my daughters through college and I have a daughter going to college next year and investing and really just kind of not necessarily, totally changing my lifestyle, but just, taking myself to that next income bracket. I knew that really couldn't be done. I don't think just working a 9 to 5. It just,
Okay.
and so the thought to me of going into real estate and going into a career where I control my income, as much as I want to work is how much I'm going to make, just seemed really attractive to me. And then, of course, helping people too. When I was in college, I always thought that I wanted to go into a profession with helping people. And in fact, what I was going to do at first was be like a therapist or a psychologist because I just really like working with people. But then, kind of decided to pivot, and I got my minor in psychology, my major in multicultural studies, and because I just wasn't sure. I had my daughter at the time, and I just wasn't sure what I wanted to do. So yeah, I got the degree, did the whole job thing, and then it just kind of made me realize like, if I want to take my income to the next level and not have to really worry about money, no matter what the economy is doing, I needed to go into some type of sales job. You know what I mean? Or some job where your income is determined by you and not by anybody else.
Welcome to the Real Estate Proverbs Podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Jefferson. And today our guest is Miss Portia High. How are you, Portia?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
That's awesome. Portia, so tell us a little bit about who you are.
Yeah, so I'm located in the Sacramento, California area, so Northern California. I've had my real estate license for about a year. I got licensed in June 2021. I work real estate. I'm a what I would call a dual agent. I hate to say part-time agent. So, I have a full-time job and then I balance real estate as well. And so I've just kind of been in the business about a year, almost to the date, actually.
Okay, so what is your daytime job?
So daytime job, I work for public health in here in Sacramento for the state.
Okay.
So government job.
Got you. What made you want to join real estate?
So I had been thinking about joining real estate, for a long time. Back when I bought my house 10 years ago, I thought it was pretty interesting. And then, just during the pandemic, I had been telling myself, I want to get my license because it is something that I would love to do full time. And so I just decided, during the pandemic, we all kind of had that downtime, and I just decided to just go for it.
Awesome. In terms of going for it, it's one thing to say it. What pushed you to do it?
I think really just thinking for me about just my long-term goals financially. I mean, my job with the state is good and it's stable, but I think for the most part, any 9 to 5 job, like you can only make so much money. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
So for me, just like my financial goals as far as like, putting my daughters through college and I have a daughter going to college next year and investing and really just kind of not necessarily, totally changing my lifestyle, but just, taking myself to that next income bracket. I knew that really couldn't be done. I don't think just working a 9 to 5.
Okay.
And so the thought to me of going into real estate and going into a career where I control my income, as much as I want to work is how much I'm going to make, just seemed really attractive to me. And then, of course, helping people too. When I was in college, I always thought that I wanted to go into a profession with helping people. And in fact, what I was going to do at first was be like a therapist or a psychologist because I just really like working with people. But then, kind of decided to pivot, and I I got my minor in psychology, my major in multicultural studies. And because I just wasn't sure, I had my daughter at the time and I just wasn't sure what I wanted to do. So, yeah, I got the degree, did the whole job thing. And then it just kind of, made me realize like, if I want to take my income to the next level and not have to really worry about money, no matter what the economy is doing, I needed to go into some type of sales job, you know what I mean? Or some job where your income is determined by you and not by anybody else.
Gotcha. With once you got your real estate license, how long did it take you to close on your first deal?
So I got my real estate license, so June 2021, and then I closed on my first deal, I want to say beginning of August 2021. One of my best friends was looking for a home. They had sold their home and they were, I think maybe about 6 months prior, and they were looking for a new home. And so, I just asked them, if I could be their agent, and they said yes. And so that's kind of I think we maybe looked at like 2 or 3 houses, and they kind of found their perfect house by the third house that we looked at. And that's how I got my first deal.
Wow. Yeah. Third house?
Huh?
You only showed them 3 houses?
Yeah, only 3 houses. I know. It was kind of crazy. But on that third house, they were like, okay, this is the one that we want. And that was during the time where, multiple offers and bidding over and all this crazy stuff. And so the fact that it was the first offer, in fact, that I had ever even put in as an agent, and then it got accepted. So, it was kind of surreal.
So what were you thinking once that happened? 3 houses, first offer, and it got accepted. What were you thinking at that time?
Yeah, I mean, as a new agent, I was nervous. I mean, I had my mentor there to, help me through the transaction. But, I think anytime I do a transaction or get in the business with someone, you always just want to, be at that gold standard and really, making sure that, all of your I's are dotted and T's are crossed. And so I think that's what I was worried most about. And I don't think I learned something different with every transaction. And just that you really can't tell where a transaction is going to go. You know what I mean? So I just wanted everything to go great. And for the most part, it did. I mean, we didn't have like that many hiccups or anything like that. So, I was just like, wow, I can't believe this is happening like so fast, So, but it was good. It was good. I luckily had my mentor there. I'm with eXp Realty, and I have a really great mentor, and she was there like right with me as far as, the transaction part of it, the contract part of it. Because to be honest, that's what I was worried the most about, like making sure everything on the contract, because California is not an attorney state. And so just making sure everything on the contract was perfect.
Gotcha. How long before you got your second deal closed?
I think that my second deal closed, I think it was September or October. I'd have to look back and see. My first year, I closed like 9 or 10 transactions, I think. And so my second deal, maybe September. I'd have to really look back I'd have to look back at my records and see when everything closed. But I want to say it was like September, because at that time I decided to get signed up with OpCity through my brokerage. So it was like a realtor.com referral. And so basically this couple was looking for a home, and that one we put a lot of offers in. But finally one got accepted. And so, I want to say, about September, I think.
So when you said that you did 9 or 10 deals your first year, you talking about from June to June or June to December?
No. So when I say first year, I mean that I was the agent. So June 2021 to June 2022.
Okay.
I closed on, I'm pretty sure it's like 8 or 9. I want to say 9 deals, but I was confused because I have some in the pipeline. Like I have a listing going live, and then I have like a new construction that, it doesn't close escrow until September, but I actually got that deal back in December. Right. So it's so if you want to say like closed deals, I want to say it's 9, but deals in the pipeline would be like 11.
Okay.
Those last two haven't technically closed yet. So
Gotcha. Well, that's awesome.
yeah.
How have you been getting your leads? Are all of them through OpCity?
My first year, two of them were through personal deals, like two of my really good friends. And then the rest were through OpCity. And so basically kind of what I did is, so I would get the leads through OpCity, and some of those were, two of those were seller leads. And so, as you know, like I'm in Brandon Mulrenan's program. And so, my next step is like really getting on the phones and calling, but I love his program for just like the listing process. So that's where I got, just how to communicate with leads and things like that, kind of through his program. So that's the program I followed for that. But two were personal and the rest were from OpCity.
So in terms of, let's take OpCity first. Is that a paid option, or how's that work?
Yeah, so you pay at closing. You don't pay anything until it closes. So like I'm with eXp Realty, and they, you get hooked up through your brokerage. And it's basically just an app on your phone, and the leads will come through that way. And so the lead will come through, and a operator connects you. And it's essentially, from what I understand, if you go on realtor.com and you're, I want to see this house type of thing, then OpCity on the back end connects you with an agent. And so that's how I got connected with these leads, essentially. And so with OpCity, you pay on the back end. So I guess you could say I don't pay for leads. I mean, I pay at the end, but I don't, for me, I just don't want to put any money up front to pay for leads that aren't guaranteed to close. Because like with an OpCity lead, you don't pay until it closes, and it comes just straight out of the commission. The brokerage takes it out.
Gotcha. What got you to join coaching so soon in your career?
Yeah, it's really funny because I actually joined Brandon's coaching before I even was an agent. So I decided like in February or March that I wanted to, February, March of 2021, that I wanted to really be an agent. And then I was kind of, on YouTube, and I was looking at some different programs. I'm like, if I'm going to really do this, like, I feel like everything in real estate is kind of like rinse and repeat, and you could do things 100 different ways, but you just need to pick one and go with it. So, I just really liked this program. So I actually joined it before I even found the brokerage that I want to join or anything like that. So I want to say I joined his program like March of 2021, because I really just wanted to, get the nitty gritty of, take the shortcut on how to do it. Of course, you don't have to pay for coaching. There's plenty of agents that have never paid for coaching and are successful, and that's great. But for me, I just kind of wanted to take the path of someone that's already done it.
So his coaching program, is it listing based or?
Yes, his program is listing based, totally. And just, it's great. Just how to communicate, basically how to generate leads on your own, and communicate with clients, and basically the nitty gritty of how to be a listing based agent. But I'll be the first to admit I haven't done all the work in it. Like, right, I'm in the program, and it's awesome. And I could be doing more for myself. How about that?
I got you.
Yeah.
But it's that you started. So that's the good part.
Yeah. And I know so many people in the program that are absolutely killing it. Right. But I need to get to that level. But right, it's part of like looking at yourself, like, what am I not doing? You can join any program, but if you don't put the work in, you're not going to see the results. So
are you still getting OpCity leads?
I actually turned those off recently. It was just kind of getting to be a little bit too much. Summertime, kids are out of school. And so I just want to take some time with my kids. And I don't know if I will turn it back on again, because I'm really digging into wanting to generate my own leads. And so maybe I'll turn it on later down the road, but it's really not a priority right now. But it was a great way for me as a new agent just to get out there and meet people. You know what I mean? Because obviously every lead doesn't close, but how to talk to people, getting out there, doing the buyer consultation or listing presentation. And just, I feel like that's the best way learn how to do things is just to put it in motion and do it. So it served a good purpose.
How did you have you had an entrepreneur mindset for a long time, or?
Yeah, I don't think maybe, I don't know. I don't know how to answer that question. I'm not sure. I think it's, I've gotten a little bit older, and I'm really seeing what I want for my life. And I'm just really realizing that a 9 to 5 just isn't going to do it. So it's like, I really have to dig into something that, that is basically going to take me to that next level. So I don't necessarily think I've always been entrepreneurial mindset, but I think I'm definitely there now. Like that is like my long-term goal for sure.
Or was it one of those college bills from your daughter and you was like, I got to do something different?
Yeah, no. It was just, I don't know.
Wow.
Because really in my earlier 20s, I had my job and I bought my house and got the kids going and it was great, But yeah, it wasn't until I got probably in my later 30s and I'm just like, I just don't think this is gonna, it's not that it's bad, right? But it's like, it's just this job that I have, which is great, but it's just not going to get me to the goals that I really want financially.
Gotcha. So how is your day structured? Doing both, working a normal 9 to 5 and then taking that hat off in real estate.
Yeah. So I start my job usually anywhere between 7 and 8. I'm off between 4 and 5. And so then as soon as I get off, that's when, if I need to call a lead, schedule showings or whatever. But I really try to do most of my real estate on the evenings and weekends, and working with buyers, to be honest, which has been the majority of my business. That's when they're usually at work as well. So that's when, it just kind of works out that way. Yeah. And so, pretty much just evenings and weekends.
In order to close those, let's say it's 9. In order to close those 9 deals that you closed last year, how many OpCity leads did you have to take in order to get that? Do you have, it doesn't have to be exact, but just give me
No, I have the numbers actually. So I took about 106, leads, and then I closed on 6, soon to be 7 of those. So if you calculate it out, I don't know, maybe that's like a 5%. I'm not really sure, but.
Yeah, let's calculate it right quick. It's a little over 6%.
Yeah. And, like with OpCity, like if I was really busy, then I would turn the leads off. You know what I'm saying? So just because I just didn't want to keep getting inundated, because of course I had my other job as well. And so I just didn't want to be like overworked. So that's kind of the beauty of OpCity. As if you're a new agent or even an existing agent, you can just turn it off and on, as you please. And
when you do you have buyer consultations with the buyers? Like, how does that process go for you? How do you operate?
Yeah. So yes, I do a buyer consultation. Essentially, like I'll, take a lead and they connect you right away. And then I just kind of see what their goals are just really quickly. And then I would ask them, or basically just tell them, okay, kind of get their goals. And if they're really serious, because you could tell sometimes right off the bat, if someone's just kind of looking at a house or whatever, they're not really serious, or if they're really want to be serious. And I would say about half the time, really, I need to get it to 100% of the time to do buyer consultation. But I would say about half the time I did a buyer consult, and then half the time, maybe like I would, kind of get their kind of what they want and then just meet them at the first house, but just make sure they always get pre-approved. Like I don't show a bunch of houses, of course, without getting pre-approved. But yeah, I think as a newer agent, my first year, it was just so overwhelming. And so this year I'm really focusing on like firming up my systems and processes.
Do you have a goal for this year?
Yes and no. I mean, I would like to do 10 to 15 transactions, but I'm still kind of trying to firm that up, like what that's going to look like. You know what I mean? Where my business is going to come from. Yeah. And so I'm working on my business plan right now, actually. And I really would like to be more of a listing-based agent. So really digging into the structure of Brandon's program to become that listing-based agent.
How often do you prospect for listings?
So I prospect for listings right now, maybe a couple hours a week. But like I said, it's been so hit or miss just because I have my other job and this job. And so between, just the kids and so I maybe call a couple 1 or 2 hours after work a week, I would say. I will be the first to admit, I definitely don't prospect as much as I need to, but I'm getting there.
Gotcha. Looking back at your first year, what would be something that you would have done differently from the start as opposed to figuring it out now?
Yeah, I don't know if I would have done anything like too differently. I mean, just because I just wasn't sure what was going to happen. I think for me, being in real estate, obviously going from like a 9 to 5, you do the work, you get the paycheck, right? And so in real estate or any sales business, most likely, you just have to have a lot of blind faith. Just keep doing the work, keep doing the work, keep doing the work, and generating business. So I think if there's anything that I would change, it would be prospecting more for sure. And yeah, just digging in and really thinking about my business and not falling into like the shiny object syndrome, with real estate. And I'm sure you're in lending, there's, do this, do this. I mean, like I said, there's 100 ways to do one thing and they all work, but you just kind of need to pick 1 or 2 and focus on that. And so, yeah, that's what I would say. Be more focused probably. But you also don't know what you don't know. So,
Right. What is your thought? What was your thoughts about real estate before getting into it? And what do you think of it now?
Yeah, I think my thoughts before, I mean, I knew it was going to be, I didn't think it was going to be super easy, but I think just realizing most of this job is, if you want to be successful, is not in showing houses, it's in prospecting for business. So, yeah, that's what I want to focus on this next year, is just really getting into the prospecting and making connections with people. And I always knew it was like a people-based business, but not in the way of just like opening doors. You know what I mean? It's in the way of actually building relationships and, being that trustworthy person that people will come to.
Do you have a CRM that you utilize?
I mean, I have a CRM with my brokerage, but to be honest, I really don't utilize it that much. That's another process that I want to put into my business to automate things a little bit more, leads that come in and things like that. When I start generating my own and email drips and things like that. But yeah, for right now, everything's just like pen and paper for the most part.
Got you. Has either one of your kids expressed interest in real estate now that you're in it?
Yeah, my older one, she has said that she's possibly wanted to go into it, but she's 17. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I mean, I would love to, for her to get her license. And I told her, we're not quite sure where she's going to go to college yet, but I told her, get your license. You could be like my licensed assistant or something like that. And so we'll see what she does. But I would love that. That would be great if that's what she wants to do.
Any advice for an agent that works 9 to 5 currently and have their license or looking to get their license? Any advice to them on things that you think helped you and could possibly help them?
Yeah, I would say just be, as structured as you can. And everybody's family dynamic and situation is a little bit different. My kids are a little bit older. And so it's really, like my older one drives and stuff. So it's really opened up the time for me to do it. I don't think, just me personally, I could have done it when they were younger, just because we had so much going on, carpool mom and all of that stuff. So yeah, I just have a lot of support, but I'm sorry, I forgot the question again.
Any advice that you would
any advice?
give?
That's right.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was on my tangent, but yeah, I mean, just know that it's going to be work. It's not like you're going to get your license and people are just going to call you and say, hey, or maybe they will a little bit, but for the most part, it's not going to happen like that. Like, to be a successful agent, you have to really put in the work and prospect and find leads, and not every lead's going to be a deal. you're going to face a lot of rejection, and to be comfortable with that and be okay with rejection and just go for it.
That's good. So this has been very insightful. It's a lot of part-time agents that are looking or afraid to make the jump. I wanted to interview with you because I saw the interview you had with Brandon, and I thought that you had an amazing story in terms of, like, I didn't even know that you got into the coaching program before you got your license.
Yeah.
So not many people do that. If there's anybody who's listening to the podcast who wanted to reach out to you and ask you some questions about your process as an agent, as a dual agent, not part-time, as a dual agent, how can they reach you?
Yeah, so Facebook would probably be the best way. I'm on Facebook, either my personal or business, Portia High. So Portia, last name High. And yeah, I'm with eXp Realty. So feel free to find me there, message me, and I'll definitely get back to you.
Awesome. Well, Portia, thank you for your time. This has been the Real Estate Proverbs Podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Jefferson. Make it a great day.
Thank you for watching the Real Estate Proverbs Podcast with Kevin Jefferson. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel so you can be notified when the latest video drops.